let's move on to episode 2. On Olega, May again pays off a local to help her get access to a Jedi, and this girl throws produce at the Jedi Temple's gatekeeper droid. This droid is a double-irised TT-8L-Y7 gatekeeper droid, like the single-irised one that we saw at Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi. I just like a detail that 100 years from now, there's just gonna be one, but now there are two. And I guess over that century, droid models just didn't need two bulbs. May finds Master Torben, played by Dean Charles Chapman, who's Tom and Baratheon from Game of Thrones, floating in this meditative trance. I appreciate the practical effect of using his drop-down cape to mask whatever was holding him up, practically for the scene. Torben's face is viciously scarred, which I presume came from that Jedi cover-up incident on Brendock. But otherwise, the casting of such a young actor in this part led to some pretty awkward-looking age makeup and facial hair. I don't know why they cast an actor in his early 20s to play the older version of himself. But May is unable to strike Torben with her fists or her blades due to this force barrier that he projects. She slips up to the raptor silently, like in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon when Jen hides under the mask to steal the Green Destiny sword at night. Osha helps Jeki repolarize the power couplings. We see that Osha has this tattoo. The Lucasfilm team also gave me one of these. They didn't like ink me, but they gave me one that I can like, put on if I want. But Osha later says that she got this during a night partying in Corpsec. Visually, it's kind of a Gemini symbol, right? Now, there's this little moment when Osha says that she's flexible, and Jeki lets out a smile, but then wipes it away when Sol walks in, like she doesn't want him to see her forming this bond after she scolded him for looking at Osha's hollow. Are we seeing a budding chemistry between Osha and Jeki? Because there was also Jeki's very unimpressed reaction to seeing Yord shirtless. I don't know, could be nothing. But then May meets with her conspirator named Chimere, played by Manny Jacinto from The Good Place. Chimere has taken over the local apothecary, and we learn May's Sith Master needs at least one of her 4 kills to be without weapons. So for May's motive, this is really a Kill Bill scenario where she's seeking revenge against names on a list. But the Sith doesn't have as personal a grudge. He's really just exploiting that revenge drive and promising that if one of those can be without a weapon, she will have proven herself to him. We'll see if he ends up keeping that promise to her though. But Chimere's role in this whole plot is just a bit more curious.
The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. And peace
is a lie, I know.
How is it a lie, though?
Peace is a lie are the opening words of the Sith Code. The Sith Code first appeared as just a fragment in the Clone Wars Altar of Mortis episode, but later was presented in its full form in the Guardians of the Whills Junior novel. Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall set me free. But the Sith are supposed to be living in secret, just 2 at a time. I wouldn't imagine uninitiated folks still in their trial phase like May, and certainly not her goofy chemist buddy Chimere, would know this mantra and just go around quoting it so casually. But I suppose while the Sith themselves were about to be extinct, their beliefs might have lived on and spread to all anti-Jedi corners of society. And Chimere might just be a free thinker that May met along the way. May supplies him with bunta, a poisonous plant used in hunting that apparently grows only on her and Osha's home planet of Brendock. This is a bit of poetic justice in using a plant native to the scene of the Jedi crime. Sol says that he wanted to save both girls, and we learned that he tried to teach Osha to accept what she had lost many times.
And I wasn't a very good student.
Like how Qui-Gon, like how Obi-Wan wanted to try to teach Anakin.
Sol struggled to teach this to Osha because he had these buried demons about what happened. May reconfronts Master
or how
Torben.
Ahsoka tried to teach Sabine. That could be a better analogy.
This life would give you the peace you seek.
The Barash Vow. That's an oath taken by Jedi who refrain from all Jedi Order functions as a form of penitence to atone and recenter themselves on the Force. It was named after Jedi Master Barash Sylvain and was first mentioned in the High Republic The Blade comic series when the vow was taken by the Jedi Knight Des Raiden. May offers him the poison vial to absolve him of what he did. I see a parallel with Torben and the character Bud in Kill Bill. He was the one killer on the bride's list who seemed to accept that they deserved what was coming to them.
That woman deserves her revenge. We deserve to die.
Torben similarly accepts this poison.
We thought we were doing the right thing.
It's another instance of this series depicting Jedi as having doubts in their own authority. Perhaps that Mystery Sith's true plot could be to purge the only Jedi right now who have doubts within the Jedi Order, so that the only Jedi who survive to the future generations, like the prequel era, are ones with 100% blindness to any of their own shortcomings and vulnerabilities. As the Jedi keep an eye out on the street, we see Chimere tossing his food wrapper to a woman's grocery basket, which just personally reminds me of Rob Lowe throwing a milk carton in the baby stroller in Tommy Boy. Jeki proposes to use Osha to pose as as her twin sister May to get information from Chimere. A plotline that we see in like every Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie, Sister episode, or The Parent Trap. Because yes, this is kind of a Parent Trap situation if each of the Lindsay Lohans thought the other one was actually dead from a fire. Now, I might be wrong here, but it seems like a lot of the dialogue that verbally identifies Osha as a quote-unquote former Jedi just seems to come up in shots when characters' faces are off camera. Like, take a look.
Osha knows how to use one of these. She used to be a Jedi. Are you ready?
Now, we totally do see moments with Sol and Vern and Yord where they're talking about Osha's past with the Order, sure, but I wonder if earlier drafts might have had some slightly different verbiage, like maybe she's given some other term of a Jedi designation that's not like a full Jedi yet, like maybe they called her Acolyte, and then the Jedi phased out that designation after Osha left the Order, but then the people making the show watched that back and they're like, nah, that might just be a bit confusing, and then they maybe re-edited the scenes to just have them say that she was a former Jedi and left it at that. But also, Lee Jung-jae learned English for this role, and that is super impressive. And it might have just been retakes as he was getting more and more confident with his lines. Chimere sees through Osha's charade, and the Jedi swarm in. Yord, again, immediately draws his lightsaber, but really it's just because he doesn't trust Osha to be the only one holding a weapon. During the stakeout, Yord says,
Yord is a prequel Jedi. About this.
The classic Star Wars line. It's actually been a long time since we've heard a character say this in live action. It never comes up in any episode of The Mandalorian, or the Book of Boba Fett, or in Andor. We just get a half nod to it in Ahsoka Episode 4 when Jason Syndulla says,
I've got a bad feeling.
The last time we heard the full version of the line was from Lando in The Rise of Skywalker all the way back in 2019.
I got a bad feeling about this.
And for good measure, Yord also throws in a nod to Admiral Akbar.
This guy's lying.
Akbar.
This is a trap.
So Sol confronts May. And with Indara and Torben, remember, May ordered them to both attack her with all their might, but she doesn't get to do this for Sol. She's on the defensive now. So she flings her blade as a warning shot, but her kick is stopped midair inches before his face, showing that Sol let her get this close just to see if she would pull her punches, and she didn't. And I love how May uses this force hold as a pivot point to twist through the air using the reverse force of his push, flinging her body up into a roll. Meanwhile, Sol just steps back to evade her blows. He observes.
The way he deals with her is impeccable.
It's interesting that Sol senses that to kill without a weapon must mean that there's some kind of culty reason why. He might be familiar with this rite of passage required for Sith indoctrination. So here's my hot take about who could really be under the mask. Could the mystery Sith, Darth Plagueis or Darth Tenebris, be played by Lee Jung-jae? Either a double identity of Master Sol, maybe Sol himself, or maybe he has a twin named something like Lune or Lun, which would be a derivative of the Latin word for moon.
Oh, shut up.
That could be why
There's
he's so
no way
forgiving
it's
of Gemini
Master
twins,
Sol.
and why historically after this conflict with the Sith would remain buried with him by the time we get to the prequel
There's
era.
no way
I don't
it's
know,
Master
it's a pretty
Sol.
soap opera
There's no way
theory,
it's a
but I
twin.
just,
If
you
it
know,
was
wanted
a
to put it
twin
out
of him,
there.
that
But
would
as
be
with
kind of
Indara,
lazy.
May
And
always
there's no
reaches
way
for the
it's him,
lightsaber,
although it
and
would
she's
be
not going to kill
insane
someone
if
with a
it's
weapon.
Master
I wonder, why does
Sol.
she try to grab it from them? I think it might be a way of trying to provide a receipt to her master that this lightsaber was never actually ignited during the duel and weapons were not used. Much of Sol's maneuvers around May really just seem to be him observing her, so that when he pushes her away, he turns his back to her unworried. And we're wondering, why did he turn his back to someone he's fighting? But then you realize it's because he has taken all of her daggers.
So
but also, in a way, he's
style.
removed her temptation to use a weapon to kill. If she's gonna do it, she has to do it the right way. Sol and Yord reveal to May that Osha is still alive. So both sisters thought the other was dead. Those four Jedi must have lied, let each sister believe the other had died, and scrubbed May from the reports. If Mother Anastasia is one of their moms, was it just the other mom that died in the fire? May escapes by creating an explosion of sand that blows them back and blinds them. Actually, trailer footage shows an even more powerful version of this used on several Jedi by the Sith in that heavily wooded area on Kofar. Osha gets May in her sights and the two sisters connect, but Osha shoots past her to let her escape. Kind of like in Point Break. Roll the clip. Yes, I think we are obligated to watch every Harrison Ford movie and Keanu Reeves movie to appreciate the show. Sol is called back to convene with a small council at the temple, which is going to be fun because, you know, among the Jedi at the temple include Yoda, Yarael Poof, Oppo Rancisis, and I think Plo Koon is around. Meanwhile, May reconnects with Chimere so that they head to the planet Kofar. And that's where we end this episode, with two scavengers approaching.
The last of the fourth, the Wookiee Jedi.
The language they're speaking is Huttese. That's the language of the Hutts spoken
The
on Tatooine,
Hutts, I
and
knew it was
Nar and Nal Hutta,
recognizable.
anywhere the Hutts operate, meaning that these two are part of the Hutts' criminal operation. But then Kel Naka comes home, and Force pulls the blaster and stabs it and scares them off. Kel Naka is the fourth Jedi Master of the bunch, a Wookiee played by Jonas Suotamo, who played Chewbacca in Solo: A Star Wars Story. So yeah, I am really enjoying the Acolyte. Huge thanks to the Lucasfilm team for letting me discuss this show with Leslie Headland. I asked Leslie if this